So I am in rural South Carolina at the moment. You can see the various and sundry livestock trailers and fence panels being moved about. So this is where my mother grew up, where I spent down the road a lot of my childhood. I'm down here to help my parents out for a couple of weeks. And one of the things that I've been doing is I've harvested some clay from the creek bed on the property, which is largely kaolinic clay, and a little bit of some of the surface red clay, which is kind of ubiquitous here. And last week I kind of quickly wedged together a bit of the creek bent clay with some of the red clay, which doesn't it's not as pliable and not quite as workable, and made a really quickie coil built bowl, which I dried out over several days, candled for a day actually in my parents' oven at low temperature, and then yesterday I built this little pit fire to fire it. So it's had the overnight to cool off, and actually I should grab the hoe to move some of the ashes away a little bit better. So we had three pecan trees that my grandfather planted about 80 years ago came down in Hurricane Helene. I used some of the deadfall in the pit fire, but mostly I used charcoal just because it would burn hotter and last longer and have a better chance of kind of firing this bowl properly. Wow. Actually stirring this up, I can still feel the heat coming off of it. So this may have to cool down a bit yet before I can even touch the touch the bowl itself. So, all right. So got this bucket to protect it from, and let's see. Wow, you can hear how it's responding to the temperature change here too. So this is still really quite hot, but so far it appears that the bowl itself has survived intact. So I don't know if it centered properly and we have proper ceramic yet, but we'll see. But man, here's your little dose of ASMR for the day. So let's see if I can ping this. So it does sound like it's centered, like we've got actual ceramic here. So it's quite exciting. I'm gonna run off and run some errands here, but we'll come back to this a little bit later once it's had a chance to air cool properly and is a bit more handleable. But that's pretty exciting. This is there's nothing fancy about this bowl. It was very, very thrown together. So it was just a little bit of a test to see how it would do. So, wow, I'm quite excited with how this has turned out though so far. So we'll check back in a little while and see how it's looking. Okay, so we're back. Ran off and ran some errands. Still quite a lot of heat coming off of this, but I fished the bowl out with the hoe and a stick to set it over here so that it could cool a little bit more. And let's see if we can. So it's got that nice little ding that you get from ceramic, which means that the clay has centered, which happens at about 875 Celsius, 1063 Fahrenheit. So it means it got quite hot. Look at it, you can see there are no cracks. It did quite well. There's a good bit of sand in this, which helps to temper the clay body. It makes it a little bit more resistant to thermal shock. So, I'm quite pleased with this. You know, as I said, it's very rough. It wasn't meant to be anything especially pretty. It was just a sort of a proof of concept sort of thing, just to see how this clay would fire up. Um, I'll need to do a lot more with it and just determine how hot it can go. Um, Figure out what mixtures of the red clay versus and the kaolinic clay get me, and but I'm really quite pleased with how this little experiment turned out.